Welcome everyone to the Lben Teahouse. I am your host, Lben. Today, I'm going to share a story about one of the 8 most ominous houses in the nation, the Jinan Quancheng Square. For those friends who have been to Jinan, you must have been impressed by this beautiful square. Why is it called Quancheng? Quan refers to the Quan, of water. It is said that in the spring and autumn and warring states periods, this place was the capital of the Qi state. The first monarch of the Qi state was Zhang Taigong. After taking office, he established a bold government here. This place, under the influence of Thousand Buddha Mountain and Daming Lake, where the mountain rules the stem and the water controls the wealth, was indeed a place where treasures gathered. Thus, Zhang Taigong set the capital here and named it Quancheng, after the abundance of water. So, why mention Quancheng Square today? Quancheng Square is a bustling area in Jinan City with a very central location, bordering Thousand Buddha Mountain to the south, Daming Lake to the north, and adjacent to the Blizzard Park and Liberation Pavilion to the west. As a result, the area is very popular and lively. An interesting case mentioned here involves the Ginza shopping center. This shopping center is over 20 years old this year, and the employees they hire don't have much working experience. But at Ginza, he was chosen after just one trial. Many people wonder how it is so easy to land a good job. In fact, it's particularly hard to recruit people for this shopping center. It's easy to find sales staff for day shifts, but it's much harder to find night guards who can work for an extended period. Just 3 to 5 days after being recruited, they would all run off, some even without collecting their salaries or saying a word, simply not showing up for work. Everyone was puzzled by this. All of them said that they couldn't stay alone during the night shift, but they dared not go into detail. They just said that working the night shift there was too frightening, to the extent that they felt they couldn't stay any longer and had to leave immediately. Thus, the shopping center found itself in an awkward position. What to do? Later on, they implemented a daily wage policy, barely managing to recruit some people willing to work night shifts. Take, for example, a young man in his 20s who loves to play. He's not interested in finding a long-term job, but if he can make 60 or 70 bucks straight away for one day's work, that's enough for him to play for a few days afterward. So you see, the shopping center's recruitment ads are written like this: paid daily, work 1 day to play for 3. This is very attractive and is therefore often used to recruit security guards. Jiang came for the daily pay, and the job was pretty simple too. After the mall closes at night, make a round to check if the shop doors and power supplies are properly closed. Fire and theft prevention had to be managed. After completing the round of checks, you could rest. The rule was that one could sleep after midnight, but another patrol had to be done before that. Once this final check was completed, Jiang's work for the night would be considered done. So tonight, Jiang was officially on duty. Today is Saturday, and the mall closes half an hour later than usual on weekends. Therefore, Jiang had his first patrol scheduled for around 10:50 p.m. The mall's corridors were left with only dimly lit service lights, creating an atmosphere starkly different from the bustling daytimes. Carrying an indifferent attitude, Jiang began checking each store, hoping to find a merchant who had carelessly left their door unlocked. If he did find an unlocked door, the merchant would be fined 200 yuan. Moreover, out of this fine, 100 yuan would be a reward for the security guard who discovered the issue. Thus, Jiang, like a treasure hunter with a flashlight in hand, carefully searched each shop one by one. Jiang was quite lucky, as when he passed by a jewelry store, he noticed that although the lock was on the door, it wasn't secured when he gave it a gentle pull. Delighted by this good fortune, he was already thinking about the extra 100 yuan bonus he'd receive the next day. After dusting off the lock, he continued on his way. Around 11:20 p.m., after completing the large round of checks and finding everything seemed normal, Jiang returned to the security room. Here's a dilemma: if he went to sleep too early, would he get caught on surveillance? This genuinely troubled Jiang. After all, being discovered sleeping too early during a night shift could cause trouble, so he had no choice but to wait until midnight before taking another round, and then he could rest. But something was amiss. After returning to the security room, Jiang felt a sense of unease, as if he could faintly hear the sound of running water outside. He immediately recalled that he had just checked the washrooms and no taps were left running. So where was this sound of water coming from? This inexplicable anxiety unsettled Jiang. Jiang had heard about certain issues at the Ginza shopping center before, which is why they always had trouble recruiting security guards. Now it seemed like he himself might have encountered some of those indescribable things this night. That couldn't be, it was too unlikely. Xiao Zhang convinced himself he must have been overthinking. He remembered that Jinan's underground springs were quite famous and that Ginza was built right on top of such a geological feature. In the past, while digging the foundation, it seemed that they had gone beyond the boundary, which was later filled in and rectified. Xiao Zhang had only heard about these things, but now, it felt as if he could actually hear the sound of those underground springs. Sitting in the room, time passed second by second, in stark contrast to how it flew by when playing games or browsing on his phone, and it was hard to endure. The restlessness grew stronger. The sound of water from outside became louder and louder. It didn't sound like running water, but more like the sound of water flowing over the ground after a rain. Xiao Zhang couldn't help but stand up and open the door to check, but there was no water anywhere to be seen. He sat back down inside, but the noises outside began to intensify, not just the sound of water, but now there were sounds resembling crowds running and emergency shouts. Xiao Zhang grew increasingly uneasy. He had always heard people say, especially when you're alone at night, any little noise could scare you half to death. The commotion outside was almost like something from an American blockbuster. Xiao Zhang felt he couldn't just sit any longer. In case anything really happened, he should prepare to escape. But when he stood up, ready to check again, and opened the door, water was flooding into the hallway. Just moments ago, everything was fine, but now the water was already knee-deep. What shocked Xiao Zhang even more, though the cries and frenzied sounds surrounded him, his eyes met an empty corridor. What in the world was going on? Xiao Zhang thought of the tales of sudden floods, which sent a wave of panic through his mind, yet he found the notion ridiculous. He thought that if there really was an emergency, he should be rescuing people, but how? At that moment, Xiao Zhang noticed a brand new lock hanging in front of the jewelry store, and inside, people looked desperate, screaming in terror. He nearly fell off his chair, realizing that everything he had just experienced was only a dream. It seemed the recruitment troubles of Ginza Square were not unfounded after all, with a succession of strange events making the night shift security job difficult to fill. Xiao Zhang sat for a while, not realizing he had dozed off in a daze, and even had a particularly terrifying dream. No wonder people said it was hard to recruit for this place. Deciding not to trouble himself any further, Xiao Zhang checked the time and found that it was already past midnight. He decided to do one last patrol, so he put on his coat and walked out of the security room. This time, Xiao Zhang hoped for a peaceful patrol, not wanting any more disturbances to unsettle him. With flashlight in hand, Xiao Zhang began his symbolic inspection. Although nervous, he couldn't help but quicken his pace. He quickly arrived once again at the gold shop that had not been securely locked. The dream had been frightening, but Xiao Zhang reminded himself that reality and dreams are different. He silently told himself, if you've done nothing wrong, there's no need to fear a ghost knocking at your door. Sure enough, everything was as usual along the way, with no abnormalities. The jewelry shop's door was also securely locked, with nothing amiss. Just as Xiao Zhang was sighing with relief in his heart, it felt as if he had tripped over something. Looking down instinctively, he saw that the lock, just like in the dream, was right there. Wasn't that gold bar model the same one he had seen in his dream? Xiao Zhang was startled, and at that moment, he heard a woman's voice behind him, muttering something. He turned around and saw that there seemed to be something unusual about the entrance to the jewelry store. And this led to another bizarre discovery. When the authorities finally arrived at the scene, they found Xiao Zhang dead, clutching a gold bar model tightly in his arms. Incredibly, the cause of death was determined to be drowning. On the dry corridors of the shopping center, how could Xiao Zhang possibly have drowned? Especially considering that apart from his lungs being filled with water, not even a single drop of water was found on his body. These unresolved questions led to the final decision by the mall's management. They resolved not to recruit security locally anymore but to outsource the responsibility to a professional security company to ensure the safety of both staff and customers. Xiao Zhang's cause of death left the entire city of Jinan perplexed and shocked. In fact, last year, Ginza Plaza adopted a trendy design concept during its construction. Designers set up an underground shopping entrance on the east side of the plaza, connected to an underground amusement park, allowing people to come up and enjoy the scenery of the fountain square after shopping. This not only facilitated customers but also saved a lot of space. However, this design also brought a potential crisis. In the event of heavy rainfall in a short period of time, the drainage rate might not keep up with the accumulation of rainwater, leading to flooding. On July 18, 2007, what seemed like an ordinary day with exceptionally muggy weather, many people anticipated that a downpour was imminent. True to their premonitions, by 5 in the afternoon, the skies opened up, and the entire city was inundated with floodwaters. Initially, when the rainwater surged into the underground Ginza shopping plaza, merchants and consumers were not too worried, thinking it was just ordinary seepage. But as water levels rose rapidly, people realized that the situation was dire and began to evacuate in haste. However, in the chaos, the owner of a gold shop closed the metal gates out of an instinct to protect his property, trapping customers and staff inside to prevent the gold bars from being looted in the turmoil. The shop owner later tried to open the gates to escape, but it was too late. The ruthlessly rising water levels meant those trapped inside the shop could no longer get out. That night, more than 30 people perished in the gold shop. Zhang, who inadvertently took the lock head of the gold shop, mistook a model for a real gold bar in the chaos, thinking he had struck it rich. Unimaginably, he did not end up with the gold bar but was trapped in that airtight gold shop, drowning. This was a tragedy triggered by human greed. Our story tonight teaches us that in the face of disaster, human life is far more important than property. Those silent heroes, and the ordinary people who should not have to pay for property with their lives, deserve our remembrance. Zhang's story is a cautionary tale, reminding us that safety should always come first in design and planning.